Well, 2025 is almost over, and if there's one thing I can say about the year, it's that it was probably my biggest growth year as a fish keeper. And I want to share with you maybe 4 or 5 of the things that kind of pushed me in the direction of growing as a fish keeper. And maybe these are things you might want to try. They might help you to also, become a little more, a little better, a little better, kind of elevate the game a little bit. And these are the things that forced me to elevate my game, putting myself into some uncomfortable waters. Pardon the pun. There's an old rocker, David Bowie, once said that you want to go out in the water, at the ocean. You want to go out until your toes can barely touch the bottom, and that's where the excitement is. And that's the way this year was for me. Whether it was finally getting into discus. And look, I'll be honest, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous. I felt confident as a fish keeper. I just heard so much about keeping discus and different stories and this and that, and had my own sort of notions and misconceptions, if you will, about keeping discus. But I dove into it, and with some help from Josh, who provided me with some great stock. Josh over at Cunningham Tropicals. It's turned out to be something very, very rewarding and very, very enjoyable. So definitely, I guess my first tip would be to expand the scope of the kind of fish that you have. Now, if you're totally content, you have limited space, you're very happy with the fish that you have, don't bother with this one. But if you do have the space, consider other types of fish. For me, this year was the year of discus and also the year of apistogramma. I mean, it was added those towards the end of 2025, and I'm just really, really liking those fish. And also, I think 2025 is where I was able to finally get a planted tank to really mature. Now, as you know, I'm a big cichlid keeper. I'm a plant destroyer, keeper. I keep fish that destroy plants, and so plants were never even on my radar, and so I never even considered keeping them. And when I did keep them, they would die off, and I would make some excuse, and well, I'm not really a plant keeper, but yet I've with the help of Aquarium Co-op and some of their fertilizers and providing me with some plants, and also the local fish store, I've been able to get into plants and have derived a lot of satisfaction. Get into the water where your feet barely are touching the bottom, and that's where perhaps some of your most fun or new adventure might come from in fish keeping. Certainly, continuing to maintain the tanks that I have, the large cichlid tanks, the African cichlids, and also the South and Central American cichlids, keeping those going, keeping them healthy, adding the auto top-off units, and becoming a little more dialed in with regards to the water parameters. I started using Malawi lake buffers and lake salts with my big African cichlids. That's worked out really well. Again, sort of an evolving kind of a ongoing willingness to try different things. And now I'm setting up a brand new home, a brand new tank for the fish that are in my 90 gallon. They're going to be going into a 60 that I've had to do a lot of modifications and preparations for, in preparation for the move of moving the discus into the 90. So have projects going, keep it exciting, challenge yourself, and find out about new fish. Try your hand at new things like plants, like different kinds of fish. These things, they force you to study, they force you to find out and learn, and in some cases make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, whether it means the loss of a fish or some setback that can occur because of a mistake that you then study. Better to study and learn ahead of time than the hard way, which is unfortunately the way I've learned a lot of my lessons, is okay, what happened, instead of let me prepare so that the best outcome. Like with the discus, I did a lot of preparation, some study, some looking into it. With the with other projects, I think I might have just jumped in, like my empire gudgeons, or even with the apistogrammas, it was kind of like, oh, he's pretty, let's just get him. And in some cases, I've learned the hard way, right? But still, that willingness to jump into something new, start new projects, keep it fresh. But if you're completely content and happy, don't change what's working, right? Regardless of what some YouTuber might say, right? Anyway, I'm wishing you all a great 2026. I hope 2026 also is a big learning year for me, and I'll see what kind of projects pique my interest, and where it goes, and I will keep you, of course, I'll keep you in the loop, and so we'll always be learning together on this journey. All right. So at any rate, make 2026 a year where you elevate your fish game by getting into some uncomfortably deep waters, and see if that results in you, like it did for me, become a better fish keeper. All right. So that's my message. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the support during the year. Very, very appreciated. And to my subscribers, to those who watch and lurk and don't subscribe, to my wonderful Patreons, to the moderators in my live streams, all of you, you've made the year a wonderful year, in my chosen hobby and pastime here. You've all been wonderful. It's a great community. I appreciate all of you. See you at the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you want my best tips on fish keeping, go ahead and click on this playlist up here. And if you want to subscribe, hit me in the mug up here. And there you go. Thank you, my friends. I'll see you at the next one. And always be learning. Bye-bye.